All right, we're here. INYO, episode 2. What a great dispensary. If you guys get a chance to go to Las Vegas, what a great selection. Some of the best weed, best prices, great group of people, and are also part of the whole JBD experience, which we'll get into it. We got Andrew Taylor. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Thanks for having me in.
Good, man. Good. So before I get into like the whole dispensary, all this stuff, let's go like in the Wayback Machine. Do you remember the first time you got high?
I do. It was, I worked in the restaurant business. Began when I wasn't even 6, probably 15.
Okay.
Smoking with a cook out of an orange or an apple down in the
oh my God. How many
room.
people remember the apple, right?
Yeah.
It was the apple or it was like a Coke can, right?
Yeah,
and
dent.
you put with the dent in it, right?
Yeah, we always got good at making the old dents.
Grew up where?
Was born in Detroit.
Okay.
Family got sick of the cold really quick, so I moved out here when I was 12.
Oh, okay.
Family lived in Southern California.
So mainly Vegas then? You moved
we were in Southern California.
Moved to SoCal.
So I lived down Temecula, Lake Elsinore area for 20 years.
Great place to live. Great place to enjoy life. Great place to be around cannabis.
Very much so. It's
kind of like a mecca in a sense, right?
It is,
that
especially
whole
Southern
area.
California. It's the vibe that everybody kind of has, that relaxed state of mind, or should have at least.
Absolutely. You know, and it's interesting because Cali was like this first to really pioneer cannabis, right?
Especially medical and
Proposition 215 happened in the, was it late 90s or was it 90s even? 94?
Yeah, because I had my first card when I was probably just 21, 22. My brother was a patient up in LA. I went up there. You know, you got the doctor right in the dispensary. So you're seeing the doctor walking straight in. He's like, yeah, you're good.
That. Everyone just piled in. I remember how it was back in the day. Like back then, every doctor's office, doesn't matter, like all day had people signing up.
Oh, and they were usually in the dispensaries too.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Day.
Yeah, Dr. Day at the dispensary. Sign you up, get you in.
So, yeah, I did
because there was no recreational. It wasn't like anybody could do it unless you had an ailment. But Cali, when creating Proposition 215, really thought about all the conditions that one needed that cannabis helps and was a thinker, you know what I mean? Like ahead of time. Because even now, that is the standard.
Pretty much. I mean, they knew, and it wasn't, just physical ailments. It was mental ailments back then, too, that they had on there.
Yeah.
So they were one of the first ones to really
for mental, anxiety.
Yep, they were one of the first ones to do it because that wasn't part of the Nevada art for a while.
No. And Nevada wasn't even, Cali was medical for a decade.
Oh, yeah.
Before even Nevada became medical, right? At least a decade. Maybe more, right?
Could be. I don't know when Prop 215 went in because I was...
Well, let's say if 215 was in the 90s and Vegas didn't get medical until...
2014. And then we went back in 17.
So at least a decade or more, maybe 15 years before it even was, in Nevada. But then when Nevada, became medical, they were actually cool because they gave reciprocity to any state and patient that had a condition could, essentially get their medicine or carry their medicine or have it, where in those days, if you got busted with a seed, even in Vegas, they're going to fucking throw you in jail if they want.
I remember the old signs as you drove in from California, a seed. I can't remember the old ones, but it was like a seed gets you this and that. It was so funny. And everybody was afraid of it. I always remember coming out here.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's afraid. Even the people who live here afraid of it back then. It's insane, to imagine all the people that got busted and went to jail for having a quarter. These young kids couldn't even imagine it.
No.
Couldn't even imagine it.
Now it's just, people are way too, I think sometimes lackadaisical with where they keep it, how they keep it, because it's
What they do with it, everything.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So you've had a passion for cannabis, right? All these years. Started as a young age. What professions did you go through, let's say, until you got to the point where you're with INYO?
I was in the golf business for a long time. So I started in the golf business when I was 16. So I was always outside
That's great.
with pot smokers. I mean,
Yeah.
90% of the people that I worked with in the golf business, we were tested, yes, but we were all stoners and potheads and outside
Yeah, of
having fun
course.
playing games. I mean, it was those were some of the best times where, when I was younger coming up through different places, it led me from Southern California to actually coming here, working in Vegas for a couple of years.
Okay.
Went to Scottsdale, went back here, Southern California, Florida. Did a few years working in Tampa at a place. So
Okay.
having to find somebody, going somewhere and trying to find somewhere how to get smoke. How do I find
Yeah, of course.
that whole new guy in town?
Now,
thing's over.
Florida, though, so rigid, even till today, for years, wouldn't even let you have flour. Only pills and like stupid shit, right? Isn't it crazy?
But then it pushes people to do to find the gray market, which is never good.
Yeah.
So I believe they're just now a little more medical.
Yeah, absolutely. So, went through these different things. Did you work with any cannabis companies in Nevada before you started going to INYO, or?
I didn't. I was a patient there. I signed up in the parking lot before they opened. So
Okay.
I was probably one of the first medical patients to sign
That's
up there.
fucking cool.
So I
So
knew they
you're
were
a
opening.
patient, working, coming in, this and this. So
Yeah.
tell me, how did this all transpire? Like, how long were you a patient? And then you're like, hey, man, let me market, let me whatever.
It was
like,
just leading up to rec starting.
okay.
So I was working part-time for Oakley selling sunglasses and
Nice.
stuff like that.
Nice.
So knew enough of the bud tenders there to get
Okay.
in and
Okay.
get my foot in the door as
Nice.
a part-time bud tender. So
Okay, so start as a bud tender.
I bud tended for probably 6 months before becoming one of the supervisors, and
Wow.
stayed bud tending for a long time, probably for 2 years.
Very similar when we talked to Lance, right? He kind of advanced from one job and made it up to what he does now too, right?
Yeah, then
So-
I started taking kind of control of the menu, the way things looked, and
Oh,
presented to
nice.
the customers. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
was my stepping into, I guess, the quote unquote marketing,
Yeah, of course. Sure.
and trying to get people in the door, making things look nice, getting
Yeah.
people to see the product that INYO has.
Wow, that's great. And what was some of your inspiration? Was there certain brands or things or, in general that kind of led to your initial decisions of things?
No, I mean, I've always been involved with cannabis in some way, either just as a user coming through. So when it actually gave me the chance to do it as a job,
Yeah.
where I could tell people,
Yeah.
this is what I do. And it was still weird for those first couple of years telling people that I work at a dispensary to
Sure.
watch people's
Sure,
faces. And
sure,
I made a
sure.
lot of friends. Everybody wanted to get to know the guy that worked at the
Yeah,
dispensary.
yeah, of course. There's probably a lot of questions.
It was. And it was, worth in-laws. I had just gotten married. So everybody had questions and stuff like
Yeah,
that. It's great.
yeah, of course. And saying you got married, is the wife a smoker or?
She's not. She is an edibles taker.
Okay, okay, but does take cannabinoids.
Yes, 100%.
Nice.
She's a cancer survivor
Oh,
a couple times over,
wow.
childhood cancer. So
Wow,
she's
wow.
she needs it definitely for sleep and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So
You
it's really
help
good for her.
promote, or she understands the importance of, especially with cancer. It does help keep it away.
Yes. So
For
she
sure.
she does do. She's done small regiments of RSO at times like that.
Okay,
It does get a
okay.
little too heavy for her.
Sure.
Even being brought down in coconut
Coconut
oil.
oil can
So even
pack a punch.
Yeah, she'll be out for a day or two.
Well, they make ones that don't have too much. You could do like hemp strains or things like that, or just add a little tiny bit of THC oil to an oil mix. Probably would be good for her.
Yeah, and we had one of the best RSO people to learn from at INYO for a long time.
Oh, sweet.
With Ruckus. just a great guy. I learned a lot from him as I got in the business and stuff like that.
Shout out to Ruckus.
He's a good guy in Vegas and did a lot of work for the medical people to be able to get medical cards for children, to be able to get medical cards and become patients under the age of 21.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, so he was one of the pioneers in Las Vegas and helped push that
What
along.
an amazing thing. Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
he had a young lady that I believe lives out in New Orleans that he helped. The tumor was gone.
Wow.
So some of the definite benefits.
And what time, do you know what time frame it was? Or
I don't, to be honest with you. I think it was within a couple years.
Sure. And Enyo's around 9 years? How long is Enyo the dispensary?
We were the second dispensary open in Las Vegas. So it was Euphoria, then us. So we've been open since 2014.
Yeah. So 6, 5, 11.
Yeah.
11 years.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow.
We're hitting. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that we've been doing this in this town now for that.
But that long just went by. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and 7 years that I've been just in the.
Because I could always remember when it
started.
started. I kind of feel like it was like yesterday. Oh, wow, Vegas legal.
Yeah, vote for this. And seeing where all the stores were going to go and all the new licenses and stuff like that. So it's just an interesting kind of being on the pioneering level, and the beginning of everything was really fun.
Sure. So tell everybody about the shop, kind of like give everybody the 411.
One thing we really pride ourselves on is being a local store. We really don't deal a lot with tourists, the Strip, unless it's Airbnbs or things around the area and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
So we like to have a selection and price. We realized one thing a long time ago, that we price everything out the door. So as you come in, you're seeing the prices all on the wall.
There's no extra taxes. That's already included in it. That was smart.
We
way better.
Yeah, we would definitely learn that. People first week or two, how much is this with tax? We're like, I don't know. But when COVID came, we made the decision to get the pricing in there with everything. So we weren't dealing with change and stuff like that.
Wow, that's great.
So, we pride ourselves on a very quick in and out store.
Sure.
You're never waiting for more than 5 minutes to get through the door.
Nice.
We like to have that selection and price. Like I said, we have a very price conscious neighborhood.
Okay.
So we like to make sure that what they want is something that we have in stock all the time.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
I know you have Lassick, which we have up promoting up here, which is really great, bud.
They really are.
Yeah, Willie's a great guy, the owner. Really cool guy.
Yeah, we've had them in probably a few times now, so
yeah,
it's been something that's,
they grow dank, good weed. I mean, there's a lot of people grow in town, but I definitely give them props for being quite exceptional, and they've only not even a year, I believe, right? Or maybe a year around, something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, I think we've had them in for less than 6 months.
Yeah, they've just been putting their stuff out. So it's a bright and nice future for Vlasic. I know you have Stizzy, very popular.
We do. We carry a lot of their products. It's a quality that goes well from state to state. So being an industry where we do see some tourists, it has a name recognizability that comes across. And, for people that are trying to get, to try to find something that they're used to, they can look on, Weed Maps or whatever site to find out where it's being carried. And,
Would you say that there's more flower smokers or oil in your place?
100% flower.
100% flower.
Yeah, no,
without a doubt. Okay.
Probably 75%.
75%. Edibles, 10%?
Yeah, concentrates. Infused pre-rolls is probably where I've seen the most growth.
Sure.
Within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It was Caviar Gold for the long time with the Cavi cones.
Yeah, of course.
They had a lot of problems in Nevada with just distribution. So, a Stizzy is one that's come pretty hard into that.
Yeah, they have some, for
Their
sure.
40s are some of the better burning. Taste-wise.
Sure.
There are some new ones that have come out with Cushberry Farms, who does really good.
Okay.
And everybody, it's weird to see the people that have changed from pre-roll to infused pre-roll over the years.
Weird in what way?
it was normally just the regular flower people for a while, and I was one of those. I never really enjoyed infused pre-rolls because they were too heavy.
Okay.
Now it's pretty much my normal thing.
Because your tolerance, though,
Yeah,
I think, like you're smoking all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Then you get one that's infused and it gives you that high like you forgot, like when you're a fucking kid again. And then you can't go back.
Yeah, exactly. So and then you're like, oh, this one just isn't as good. So, but that's kind of where I've gone with dabs too. I do, I love to take, very good clean dabs. Tsunami's really nice in the market right now with nice clean dabs. So they're one of my favorites.
And then let's talk about the JBD section for those that are collectors and enjoy the old school legend Jerome Baker and his glass.
That was really cool for me to see come in because I made my first Jerome Baker purchase probably in 2000 at a smoke shop in San Clemente where I lived as a gift from my friend.
Hell yeah.
So got him a dope little bubbler, and that was my first introduction to really that art glass. We knew some guys in San Clemente that did glass and stuff like that, so I always had something really cool to have around.
Hell yeah.
But to have that partnership and to kind of have a pop-up store was really cool for me to see.
Yeah.
When we used to have to call them water pipes for tobacco use in the stores, and now it's now he's back.
Now you couldn't say it. Yeah. And you guys have that, and you have like nice pieces, pipes, things like that. For people, papers too, or no?
We have the tips. We don't have any
the
tips. We have the glass tips. And bongs from him that are in every price range. For the collectors.
Yeah.
The really dope stuff, and then some of the everydays that are just for your everyday smoking.
And it's an American-made glass, made here in Nevada.
100%.
In this place that we're in right now.
Absolutely one of the coolest places I've walked into.
Which is really cool. So most people, this isn't open to the public, so the only way you can get it is if you have an outlet like INYO where you can actually go see and pick and choose. Most of the time it's just online, or if you find them in bong shops around America. So it's really great to be able to go into a dispensary, have an homage to JBD and a lot of cool pieces. And because we are Vegas and we are here, you can always go into INYO and ask for a custom piece to be made. And we can also arrange that for you as well.
We've actually sold more pieces than I thought we'd have. Just with our neighborhood, not really
in the price range. For
the art pieces. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sticker shock, but it's amazing how many people come in knowing the JBD, knowing the lunch boxes. Dude, his art on the lunch boxes and stuff, people love.
The art is sick. That's the one thing that's really, ties in, is really great about it. Secondly, it's like if you're always going into a dispensary and you see all this great glass and you see all this nice stuff, and other people that go into the same place and things like that, it's like forming into your head. So now it's something like you kind of yearn to have because you see it all the time. Mm-hmm. So then when you buy it, it's even more special because you stared at it how many times, and then you got it. And then when you tell other people, oh yeah, I got one of those ones in INYO. Oh shit, really? Blah, blah, blah. I've seen those. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? There's a recognizability. That what makes it more than just a piece of glass. It has the memory, the symbolism, all the various things. And I think that's important. I think it's important to a lot of smokers, actually.
Very generational, too, because his art is known through my older generation that I am, and down through the younger generation.
All the way through.
It's nice. I love how his art's taken down through the years and stuff like that. And the love for glass.
Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable.
I remember giving my parents their first glass pipe, always smoking old metal pipes that came across in 7 different pieces.
That's so unhealthy. Take this glass.
I'm you're smoking good weed for me. And it took a long time till I was almost 22, 23 years old till I finally started smoking with my parents. And my parents smoked.
That's so cool.
Ever since I had memory.
Wow.
So it was always still a separated thing. But I remember the first time they're like, if you're going to be here for a while, stop stinking up the upstairs and just smoke out here with us. And
dude, that is cool. Great.
Here's a pipe. And
How
I
great
just gave
is
them
that?
a glass pipe soon after that. So
I love that. I love it.
I remember doing dabs with my parents for the first time and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Oh my God.
They could barely move.
Probably, right? They're like, oh my God, this is so But then they love it anyway, right?
They did.
So
They did.
it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, my parents met in San Francisco in 1969 in the Air Force.
Oh
and stuff
my
like that.
God!
So they were the hippies. They were
the true generation, the original.
Very much so. And they know
They get credit for that for sure.
It's something they carry with me.
And they probably just being in that sense, and then how much technology and all these things have changed since then as a stoner. And to watch like fighting for people to understand that form of generation back then. Being in 1969, there was only 3 years where drugs essentially were legal and cannabis was legal. 1969 was one of those years. I think it was 69, 70, and 71 or something like that. There were 3 years where it was literally acid, everything essentially was legal. And then it wasn't. And then everything changed. But to like see now you could walk into a store when before they were marching in the streets, for awareness, and to watch that in your lifetime is pretty crazy.
Yeah, especially, at my age, I've seen all the different steps that cannabis has taken through laws and through the countries and stuff like that to finally to my 16-year-old self in high school, in my Volkswagen Bug, would I think I'd be doing this now? No, but I probably would have been the guy in high school most likely to work at a dispensary as voted that.
That's if it was normal, right? If it was normal. Now it's normal.
Now it's normal.
Back then, way different.
We can thank normal for a lot of that.
We can thank normal, and all the pioneers who started that organization. And shout out to Jack Herrera. All the things he did to contribute to make hemp legal in the United States, which before that you couldn't even have it in a cream.
It's crazy. Now you can get it
crazy.
at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, now you can get it everywhere.
And some of that is still just bizarre to me to see it in places like that. And I'd still tell everybody get it in a dispensary. Get it where you know where it's coming from.
Well,
that's the most
there is regulations. There are no molds. There's no pesticides. You don't know, with a lab report, you can be seeing it. You can ask for it. There's so many things where before it wasn't like that at all.
And it's amazing to see how educated the Nevada customers become from, coming in and just looking for THC. My favorite thing as a bud tender to ask, well, do you drink your alcohol just for the percentage of alcohol in it? They're like, no.
Yeah, of course.
THC is not the only thing, man. So now to have people come in and not even ask THC, okay, what are the terpenes? So they know what works for them. They know the Nevada customer has become so much more educated.
Sure, of course.
When I go to California and I'll look at jars and stuff like that, and not being able to see terpenes on stuff is still pretty bizarre not to be able to see that and judge how I want to control my high.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that those certain terpenes can affect the body in ways that one doesn't realize yet because we don't have enough medical science about it. So when you try the different ones and then you find certain ailments or problems or things in general are better, it's because of that.
One thing I always told my customers, and, I deal with mental health problems, BPD, things like that. And I started using a journal when I first was a medical patient to learn the terpenes that affected me certain ways that helped with anxiety or brought it on a little bit more. I always say that I bring on my own anxiety. The terpenes don't do that. But I've learned that certain ones are happier and was able to control how I felt and different, pain, different things like that by learning how I reacted to it. And then everybody reacts to it differently. So as new smokers coming through, it was one thing I always like to tell people is just keep a journal for a little bit. Learn how different strains, different things affect you.
Of course. And because everyone's different. I mean, there is a generalized consensus of the things that cannabinoids can help. Inflammation, anxiety, all these various medical things, but there is a big part we don't know yet. So that's why I think people should try as many strains and genetics. Just like Andrew's been saying, it's like it doesn't matter that it has 30 or 40 or the most percentage of THC, because if you want a super high THC, you can always just get an oil. They're like 80, 90, 100% if you really want to knock your socks off. You know what I mean? But
and I guess I contradict myself a little bit with the infused pre-rolls in that because, the terpenes are pretty stationary across those. I don't know if that's the right term I'm looking for, but between different jars, you're getting pretty much the same thing through different strains because it is distillate, it is certain things like that. So for the more of the medical, aspects, it's definitely flower and concentrates and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Distillate strips all the cannabinoids pretty much, except for THC.
Correct, and then everything gets added back. So, it's, for me, I've always, this vape is an indica. Okay, but it's a distillate, so it's pretty much THC.
Doesn't matter if it's like, that's what people don't
It's
understand.
what they add back in.
And the cartridges, they're like, and I'm like, well, it's kind of deceiving, but.
Yeah, there's more Blue Dream in me than there is in that vape that's called Blue Dream.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything in addition that you want anybody to know about the place specifically?
One thing we have great owners. One of our owners is in the legislature and has fought to start the medical program.
Oh, wow.
He's fought for the rec program and goes back up, every time, trying to do things for the industry, for the customers, for the patients. We support a group called Shine a Light. They go down into the tunnels and help homeless.
Oh, wow.
Last year for 420, we took in over 2 flatbed trucks worth of water for them.
Wow.
What they do is they help people come out of the tunnels and they give them a caseworker. So once they're out, they're supported every step with housing, with jobs.
Wow.
So we pay for one of those caseworkers every year.
Wow.
To help. And we're just coming up with the next thing to do for 420 and them to help, especially summertime water and whatever we can do for them. We've sponsored veterans at Veterans Village for years. We might not put it out there, but our owners have always taken pride in taking care of our patients. We went back 1 year for 420 and had lawyers in the buildings that helped seal their records.
Oh, wow.
So we had lawyers come in and help our customers privately to seal their records, to be able to get jobs, to be able to do better things.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. That's so great.
We know our neighbors, and we
great.
We wouldn't be here without them.
No, that's so dope.
So it's we really enjoy where we are in our town and what we're able to do.
So let's give the full address to our stoners out there. Come down to INYO, INYO Dispensary.
You can see us at INYOLasVegas.com. We're at 2520 South Maryland Parkway.
And that's Maryland and Sahara, right?
Correct. We're in the old Blockbuster video. So, yes, for those of you who remember what those are.
Yeah, I remember Blockbuster. So, is there Instagram or anything?
INYO_LV. We've just started that back up within the last couple months or so.
Okay.
It's so limited in what we're able to do, but it's nice to have fun with our customers and do some cool stuff.
Hell yeah. Shout outs to any friends and family out there?
I have a lot of, my brother lives in LA. My brother's a great artist. So it's.
Shout out to the bro.
Jeremy, if you're out there listening.
Jeremy.
But no, it just, everybody in Las Vegas has always been really cool. I've lived here on and off since 93. It's just a neat town. There's always something, and it has a very large cannabis culture, music in cannabis culture. That's one thing I really like about it. There's always something to do here.
Yeah, there's always something to do. Well, if you guys get a chance, definitely come down to INYO. Obviously, if you're local, definitely check it out. They got great deals, great stuff to try. Is it 24? It's not 24 hours though, right?
No,
what are the hours?
We're open 8 a.m. to midnight. We'll deliver anywhere in the valley for a $50 minimum.
Okay.
We deliver until 10 o'clock at night. So,
All right, you guys heard it. Let's check it out. And then check out the INYO podcast coming to you every month, all the different bud testers and different things. Do we want to give a little highlight to some of the 1 or 2 new things we got coming through or no? Or not yet?
There's a lot coming, man.
Tune in.
With 420 coming up, there's a whole lot of stuff we're going to start doing.
All right, cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we'll announce it. We'll post it. Check it out on Hayes Radio and Hayes TV. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. See you guys.
Have a great one.
Peace.
Bye.